Welcome to the Outer Darkness Happy Hour podcast. We're John and Ashley.
This is not your typical Exmo Nevermo podcast.
We're here to share our stories, but we want to hear yours.
So grab a drink and pull up a chair and let's talk about life in the outer darkness.
Hi, welcome to the Outer Darkness Happy Hour podcast. I'm Ashley.
I'm John.
I am a Nevermo, which means I've never been Mormon.
And I'm an Exmo, which means I was Mormon.
Thankfully, that's changed. Today's drink is Temple Tonic. It's made with the Temple of the Moon gin. It's a local gin and was requested by Kellie, our guest. Today, Kellie is going to share her amazing, wonderful, crazy story with us. I know you guys are all going to enjoy it. And let's get this started.
Yeah, I'm excited because as an Exmo, it's always interesting to hear other people's experiences, their journeys leaving out of the church. Because when I left the church, I thought I was like one of 14 people.
Yeah.
In 2012, I left, and I really thought this was an underground thing that was going on amongst us leaving the church. And it was weird. I went to my very first lunch with a bunch of ex-Mormons. I got invited on Facebook, and I thought it was this weird underground. It's going to be like 12 of us, and it was like 50 people.
And you still felt guilty about it. Yeah, 100%.
It was my first Sunday not going to church. It was on a Sunday. It was a Sunday brunch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And you're like with heathens, because you're going into outer darkness.
Yeah. I remember looking at the time going, okay, I'm supposed to be in sacrament right now. And I'm like, with all this
It's all this religious guilt, even though you're not in the religion anymore.
It was bizarre.
Yeah.
It really was an odd feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, we're excited to have you.
No, I'm excited to be here. It's a crazy story. So,
And if you need to have a drink in the middle of all this,
cheers, everyone.
Yes, we can cheers our Temple Tonics.
Cheers, Temple Tonic. Can't reach over there, but
Cheers.
hey, there we go. I don't want to spill, to outer darkness. We'll be there. Just call me Judith.
Ooh. Gosh, I love that, Jen. So good.
So good.
Just call you Judith.
Just call me Judith. We'll get to that.
Okay, Kellie, tell us, start from where you think is the best point of starting. Your childhood,
yes,
your family.
Born and raised LDS in Utah, lived in Utah. I came from a very non-conservative family, actually, in the LDS church, meaning that my mom was very liberal, Democrat. People were like, "Oh, you're a Democrat," and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So it was great. But in high school, I really doubled down on the church, meaning I purposely went to early morning seminary. I picked to do that, to sacrifice, to go to early morning seminary.
Oh, wow.
You'll probably realize this. Do you know what Mormon ads are? Do you remember those?
Is it the posters?
Yes.
On the church walls?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had those decorated in my bedroom.
Really? Obedience.
Yes, obedience. And then you see the oil, sin, you don't want it on your hands.
Exactly.
Type thing. Yeah, no, it's crazy. So, it's god awful. Anyways, and I listened to Janice Cap Perry. You probably don't know what Janice Cap Perry is.
I'm still tripping over the Mormon ads. So is it like movie posters when you go into a theater?
Yeah.
So that's what that means?
Yes. Mormon ads.
When I think about it, they were like memes.
So
memes, but posters.
They're posters.
Yeah, no, totally. And I actually, side note, I found some Mormon ads on Facebook Marketplace 20 years later, and I totally bought them because they were just
that's
crazy.
Great.
And I
see those sometime.
Yeah, I decorated my house with it as a joke. So, anyways, but Janice Cap Perry, I listened to all that musical shit that was just god awful. And I did the Young Women Medallion. I really hardcore into this. I am church. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get married in the temple. I'm going to find my eternal companion. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to, just live this life. This is my life, and I was so excited. And my senior year in high school, I'm going to go to Rick's College.
Up in Idaho.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Rick's College, now BYU, Idaho. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And I was so excited. I applied and I didn't get in. Mm-hmm. I was so devastated. The reason why I didn't get in is because they only accept a certain percentage from different states. And when you're a Mormon girl in Utah, Like they wanted people out of state to be able to have, I guess, the Mormon experience. So my mom, she's like, okay, it's okay you didn't get in. I was devastated. It's okay you didn't get in. In fact, you'd probably hate it because I had no rules at my house. Had no curfew. My mom didn't give me a curfew because she trusted me so much because I was such a good Molly Mormon, like strict Mormon. So like I could go and make out with my boyfriend in high school she was like, they wouldn't even have sex because they're so
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought heavy petting was the term heavy petting.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought. That's how naive I was. So my mom goes, well, you know what? You would have hated it at Rick's. You would have had like all these rules. Like, you know, you can't have a boy go cross the line into the bathrooms. Like they can only be a certain place in your apartment. Like they can't go to your bedrooms or your bathrooms or anything like that. It was so strict. You had to be back in your dorms by a certain time. So I went up to Utah State. I got into Utah State and I lived in co-ed dorms and it was magical. And during this time frame, and I can honestly say during this time frame, I had a missionary out on the field.
So what does that mean? Explain that to our Never Mo listeners.
Okay. So I had a boyfriend at the time who decided to serve a mission. And so I was going to like do the whole wait for him thing. And, you know, their Saturday's Warrior.
Will I wait for you?
Will I wait for you?
Will I wait for you?
Sorry.
It's a Mormon musical.
It's a Mormon musical. It's really bad.
That's for another episode. Yeah.
I think we should have an episode where we dissect that
I'm
musical.
learning a lot. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, where we dissect that musical because it is. I have a bunch of friends. We were on a plane to Mexico recently, and we were actually dissecting it on the plane.
Oh, wow.
It was so fun. It's hilarious. But anyways, so I was waiting for him on his mission, and I went to Utah State, had full intention of just marrying this guy. You know, he was on his mission and stuff, and I met my late husband, actually, at Utah State. I was 18 years old. 1997, just graduated, and we lived in the co-ed dorms together. So there was 2 male dorms, 2 female dorms on the same floor. So it wasn't like we were sharing dorms, but we were just right across from each other. So you know what I mean? So it was definitely much more liberal than Rick's College. Met my husband, and I remember thinking, well, how do I know I'm supposed to marry my missionary if I don't date other people, you know? So why not date other people? And sure enough, ended up, met him in August. I was engaged by March. Typical Mormon. Yeah.
How did you break the news to your missionary in the field?
This is awesome. So let's take a drink to this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he was serving his mission in Greece, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So I sent him a letter, you know, and just said, I'm going to get married. And he was in the mission home at the time, I think. And I was in my dorm. And when he got the letter, he actually called me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like, don't do this. Don't do this. And I'm like, sorry, getting married.
Yeah.
But I got the privilege of dear Johnning someone. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I broke his little heart, but you know, whatever. I got to dear John. So that's a thing, like in the Mormon thing, like culture and stuff like that. So engaged in March, and then I was in August of 1998, August 8, 98, got married. And I remember my mom, she was like, my mom was very, very liberal, and she was like, you know, you don't have to do this. You really don't. Like, why don't you go to school? Why don't you go to school? You want to be a lawyer. You want to get your degree in political science. Why don't you just go to school and not get married? You don't have to. And I just remember this guilt of, well, I said yes to him. I don't want to break his heart. Like, I mean, isn't that just like so stupid? It's stupid. Looking back, I'm like, I don't want to break his heart. And he was a great guy, you know, that sort of thing. So we did end up getting married in the Bountiful Temple. Yeah, pretty temple, you know. And had our wedding reception at the Joseph Smith Memorial Building.
Wow, he doubled down.
I doubled down. It was, that's what happens. And, yeah, so I was 19 at the time, like a teenager. Think about that. A teenager. Yes.
I was not, yeah, I was 18 when I got married.
Yeah.
And pregnant.
Yeah, well,
a little more of a sinner.
I have a funny story, but maybe I'll share it for another day about that. But
take a note.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny. Anyways, I prayed to not get pregnant on my honeymoon night. Let's just say that. I mean, how stupid is that? Sorry. Please, dear Lord. Let this not happen. Yeah. Anyways, so so we got married, and I did the typical LDS thing, dropped out of school, putting him through school. And then I thought, okay, once he's done with school, he can put me through school. That, I mean, isn't that what every person does? Because he's going to be the main breadwinner, you know? So I put him through school, and then we moved. We were in Logan at the time, and then we moved to Salt Lake for him to go to school at the University of Utah, because there just weren't any jobs in Logan. And I got a job at the University of Utah, and I was able to put him through school because I got free tuition at the time for him. So it was awesome. So we decided, I got pregnant with our first son, and about, let me do the math. 2 years later, you know, so we waited, you know, about a year, you know, and then had our first son, and 18 months later, had our daughter. So Irish twins type thing.
Yeah, back to back.
Mm-hmm. And he graduated after our second child, and this was our second child was born in 2002. I was going to say 2022. Sorry. Just recently. Yay, babies. No, just kidding. And 2002. And she was born in March 2002. The reason why I say this is because September 11th happened, in 2001. And if anyone remembers, September 11th, like, the economy went to shit afterwards. Like, and my husband at the time was a web developer for the University of Utah, and he was actually starting to create online school for the University of Utah. And so it was kind of cool, like cutting edge technology, stuff like that. And after our daughter was born, he lost his job. I mean, and I'm a stay-at-home mom all through this time, stay-at-home mom, you know, that sort of thing. And after she was born, he lost his job because of the economy in 9/11. So then he decided, he had his bachelor's degree in mathematics, because computer science, they didn't teach web development. So he got a degree in mathematics and couldn't find a job as a web developer at that time. Nobody would hire someone with only a mathematics degree. Ridiculous, which is actually harder to get than a computer science degree, but whatever, you know. And he decided he was going to go into the military. He's like, I want to get a security clearance. I can become an officer in the military. So he took the Air Force officer's exam, and he passed it with he's an amazing test taker. My son got his test taking skills from him, and that's why he's in medical school. Like he's an amazing test taker. And they're like, how fast can we get you into the military type thing? Yeah. So he goes in for the military physical, and the doctor in the military goes, oh, you have a mole in the back of your back. You should get that checked out. So we did. We went to a dermatologist. The dermatologist goes, whoa, yeah, I'll biopsy this, but I'm referring you to another doctor. Gave us the name. This is before Google, okay? Mind you, all of this is before Google, and you could be Dr. Google, okay? gave us the name of this doctor. We're like, okay. So we went and made an appointment with this doctor, and I noticed on the door it said surgical oncologist. And I'm like, what is going on here? So we sit in the room, and he's like, okay, you have stage 3 melanoma cancer. It has spread to your lymph nodes on your back and underneath your armpit, and we need to do X, Y, and Z, and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm just like sitting there just devastated. You're hearing your husband has cancer. You know, I'm 23 years old at the time. You know, 2 young kids, just barely a newborn. And, you know, my son. And he's like, okay, we need to, you know, we want to do these interferon treatments. It's a new cutting edge technology, you know, thing that's happening now. And we think it can, you know, can really help stage 3 melanoma patients. And we couldn't do it because we didn't have health insurance.
Yeah.
And I literally had to sit in the doctor's office and make the decision, do I keep a roof over my head or save my husband's life? I had to make that decision. Yeah, no one should ever be in that position ever in their life. And at that time, oh, sorry, I'm like,
no, it's
what's
fine.
hitting the, yeah. At that time, he's like, okay, well, you can, you know, apply for Medicaid or what, is it Medicaid or Medicare? I don't know what it is. Through the state of Utah, we tried, and that's literally the only time I ever asked for help in my life and got denied because we owned a home. And this is before Obamacare. This is before everything. And the guy's like, well, you can sell your house. And I'm like, okay, be homeless. Who's going to rent to someone that doesn't have a job?
Yeah.
What do you do? So at that time, the doctor's like, well, all we can really do is remove his lymph nodes and hopefully catch it, and it hasn't spread any further. And we can do it in his office. And he gave him the medicine he gave like people to make him sleepy. You don't really remember. Michael Jackson took it and died. Whatever, the milky juice, whatever it is. And I remember it was after hours, he performed it in his office, and I just remember hearing the screams of my late husband. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he died eventually. Sorry. Whoops.
You have to worry about spoiler alerts.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Sorry. So we go through this. Like I said, he had unemployment. I guess, you know, so I did ask for help with unemployment. He had unemployment. That's how we were able to keep a roof over our head. I never asked the bishop for help, never did, you know, but I still, damn it, I paid my tithing because that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You know, my 10% of my unemployment check went to the church, you know, at that time. And not even asking for a food order or anything. And I look back and I'm like, dude, I should have taken advantage of my situation and gotten all the help, but I didn't because there were always someone else needier than me, than someone that had a husband with cancer, you know, unemployed. I mean, that's pretty needy. I'm sorry, but that is pretty needy. But anyways, so in my head, I was like, I need a backup plan. I need to go to work because if something ever happens to my husband, I need to go to work. So that's how I started my career in the travel industry. I started working for Marriott, and I got a job, and then he eventually got a job, and I realized I was a much better mom working than staying at home. But I got so judged from my ward. They're like, well, your husband now found a job. Why are you still working? They didn't understand, like, in the back of my head, like, what if my husband dies? What am I going to do? I'm in a stage 3 cancer diagnosis. Thank God I didn't have Google to be able to Google shit because my thinking was right. I needed to find a job.
Yeah.
So, I did really well with Marriott, and actually had a job transfer to Maui. And I mean, who's going to turn down a Maui job transfer? Let's be real. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. About 2 years later, from the original diagnosis. And he was a really, really successful web developer there. He was actually working on the very first Golden Globes website.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing. And he was really sick, got really sick, and he's like, I'm under a lot of stress. I'm gonna go, and during this time frame, like, he was always cancer-free. Oh, we'd do multiple appointments, cancer-free, 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 cancer-free. And, but we are still really active in the church, still believed in the church. Felt really bad that we lived on an island that didn't have a temple.
Yeah.
What do? We would see Mitt Romney in our ward time to time, I mean, all the, Mormon legends would come to church, that
Mormon
sort of
celebrities.
thing. Mormon celebrities. But yeah, so, but anyway, so went to, sorry, this story's taken longer than I anticipated. I apologize.
Take your time.
Take your time.
So he got really sick, and we were surprising his family coming back to Utah for his 30th birthday in August of 2025. And we surprised his family coming back to Utah for his birthday. He's like, I just need this break. I'm under a lot of stress, and it'll be good. We get to Utah, and my mom, she's a nurse, and she saw him, my husband, and she goes, you don't look very good. It seems like you have pneumonia or something, like we are taking family photos and at Wheeler Farm. And she goes, why don't you go to urgent care afterwards? So we went to urgent care, and we get to urgent care, and they listen to the back of his back, and they see his huge scar. And they're like, what's this scar from? And he's like, oh, this is what happened. And he explained how he had lymph nodes removed, and you could see the scar from the back here underneath his armpit. Just basically taking a knife.
Yeah.
is imagine that. And they're like, yeah, this isn't pneumonia. We need to have you go up to LDS hospital. We need to do a CAT scan. And so we went up there. We had no clue what was going on. Do a CAT scan, found out his cancer came back, and it was spread to his lungs and his liver at that point. So I can't remember if they did CAT scan or MRI, something like that. And we're just like, okay, they're like, get back to Maui. As soon as you get to Maui, go straight to the emergency room. And we're like, oh, okay. So I'm in Maui with my 2 kids. I have no clue what I'm going to do. I have to go straight to the emergency room. Who do I call? I don't have family, Thank God his boss, just an amazing woman, came to the hospital and got my kids while we were doing this. And we heard the news that it spread to his lungs and his liver and had to start immediately doing chemotherapy. Well, there's no cure for stage 4 melanoma cancer. There is. It's lethal. It's even to this day, they've made great strides with immunotherapy, which is what they wanted him to do, but we weren't able to afford to do that. I had to make that decision. Do I put a roof over my head, or do I save my husband's life? I mean, it was painful. So we did chemotherapy, and it was brutal. He did chemotherapy at home, actually. And August, it was in his lungs and liver. November, it spread to his bones. January, it spread to his brain, started brain radiation. And in February, we were told there was nothing else that they could do in Maui. And mind you, he was losing platelets. He had to have blood transfusions every day and platelet transfusions every other day. So it was blood transfusion, next day was platelet transfusion, blood transfusion, platelet transfusion, And when you live on an island, they don't have a blood bank. So you have to time it just right to get to the hospital when they bring in a plane, blood and platelets. It was, and mind you, I'm still working full time. I have to work full time because I have to keep my health insurance and a roof over my head. Never once asked the church for help. And yeah, So never once did really my bishop ask how we were doing. Bishop was a great guy. I'll give him credit for that. He was a great guy. I think I had the presence of don't bug me, and he respected that. And I really appreciate it, because I would have said don't bug me if he would have come. You know what I mean? Yep. So I respect that. I respect that. I'm grateful that I had family that, like his sister who was living in Dubai at the time, came and lived with us to help me with my kids and taking him to the doctor's office and all this stuff. I'm grateful for that. My mom came out because the whole focus was I had to still work. I had to make money. I had to keep a job and keep my health insurance. So in February, they said, nothing else we can do. You need to go to a cancer facility. So we chose Huntsman. And we get here, and nobody knew how bad it really was. When we got off the plane, he was in a wheelchair. His head was shaved. He had tumors all over his head, like just tumors all over his body. He weighed less than 100 pounds, and he threw up bile at that time. And when we got off the plane, and it was horrible. And so we get to Huntsman, and Huntsman, they ran a test. They did, I'm losing it now. They did, I can't even think of the word, what it is. It's where spinal fluid, where they take your spinal fluid, a spinal fluid test, and to see, because they wanted to see if it spread to his bone marrow.
Stem cell?
No, not stem cell.
Okay.
That was stem cells happen now, but no, it was basically they just gathered his spinal fluid to see if it had spread to his bone marrow. And we got the news it hadn't, so he could do the trial study, which was amazing. We got this great news. And then the doctor goes, wait, these results don't look right. Ran it again. And then that night they told us he's going to die. So you get this yay, we're telling all the family members we're going to be able to do this and save his life. And then comes crashing down 6 hours later. And his wish was he just wanted to go home and die. And he was done. There were plenty of times when we were in the emergency room in Maui, and he's just like, I just want to die. And I'm like, you can't die. You need to stay alive for us. I can't do this. And I had a harder time with it. But anyways, so eventually he died 9 days later. Very quick.
What year was this?
This was 2006. So, March of 2006. So he died on Pi Day, the mathematician that dies on Pi Day, kind of cool. So he dies, and I felt this immense guilt because I wasn't actually there when he died. He was in a coma, and I was showering when he died, and the hospice was bereavement counselor was coming. I hadn't left his bedside in 2 days, and I'm like, I can go take a shower. Someone's coming over, and his mom comes up and is like, his breathing's really weird. Do you need to get down here? And I'm like, I sat on the bed, and I'm like, I can brush my teeth, and I lived with that guilt for a long time. Like, how dare I not be by his side when he died, immediately. But he died, and so I was 26 years old. I had a 5-year-old and a daughter that just turned 4 2 days beforehand. Yeah. So, yeah. And to put it in perspective, I just lost my eternal companion. Because we were married in the temple. I made that commitment to him, and now I'm on this earth, and I'm a single mom to 2 kids at 26 years old. And I was a pretty shitty parent. I'm going to be real. He was a much better parent. I was horrible. I was a much better working mom. And I had to make a decision if I wanted to go back to Maui or be in Utah. He was buried in Utah. I decided I couldn't leave him. So my work was awesome. They're like, what do you want to do? You have your job in Maui, or we can job transfer you back to Utah. Mm-hmm. So they job transferred me back to Utah, which I am so grateful for. And I literally buried him on a Tuesday, and I had found a townhouse to rent on that Saturday. Mm. Yeah. Because I needed a place to grieve, and I needed my own space, because I was go with cancer. Okay, you're dealing with, medicines and doctor appointments and all this stuff, and what's the next thing that's going to drop? Okay, then he's dying, so I'm dealing with that, and I just needed, and planning a funeral, go. And then I just needed the moment to breathe. And I'm sitting in my townhouse in Draper, and I have 4 suitcases to my name. I have my 2 kids, don't have any furniture, don't have anything. And I just start crying, and my son puts his arm around me, 5-year-old son at the time, and says, "Don't worry, I'm the man of the house now." Like, who needs to have that sort of responsibility? So this is where it gets really fun with the church. So, sorry, that's my backstory. Long story. Breathe. This is where it gets fun with the church. So, that Sunday, I decided to go to church. And I decided to meet with the bishop because, 1, I'm a grieving widow. I just lost my husband. 2, I wasn't asking for help. I didn't need any help. But I just thought he needed to know my situation. I just needed some support somehow. None of my friends knew how to handle this situation. None of my family knew how to handle this situation. No one knew. And there weren't support groups. There wasn't social media. There wasn't, groups I could go to get help. Like, really, I didn't know. I thought, okay, maybe a bishop, somebody that is outside of this situation, hopefully they can offer me some insight. So after sacrament meeting, I go to the bishop and I'm like, yeah, I'm new in the ward. I just moved in yesterday. Kind of for shock value, I said, I just buried my husband. He's in the ground on Tuesday.
How do you take that?
Well, his response. Well, Sister Myers, why aren't you in the singles ward?
Because you should be dating.
Yeah, actually, why you weren't in the singles ward by now?
Yeah.
Your first Sunday after burying your husband.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have 2 children.
Yeah.
Singles ward back then, you couldn't go if you had children. Oh. What am I supposed to do? Drop my kids off somewhere, so I could just go to the singles ward? This is my eternal companion. The furthest thing on my mind was, let me just go and find a new husband. Yeah.
Wow.
All I'm thinking about is Saturday's Warrior. Will I wait for you up? Yeah. He's up and, waiting for me to come through the veil, call my secret name, Judith.
Yeah.
We
talked about secret names before.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And I was just blown away. But what's interesting is that was the common theme for everyone to handle my situation. I felt this immense pressure that I had to remarry.
Yeah.
Had to. I couldn't just be a single mom. Couldn't be a single working mom. Mm-hmm. You don't do that in the LDS church. You don't. You can't.
You can't hold any positions if you're not married, right, in the church? Or is that just for men?
I at the time, no, I don't think.
At the time, I know. So my ex-wife, when we got divorced, she was working for the church in management, and they had to change her title because she was single. They had to move her around a little bit because she was no longer married, but she was high in the management side at the church. So they had to change your title, do some weird stuff there for a while until she could be married.
Yeah.
That's
And
a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't even think I really wanted a calling at the time. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it together, keep my shit together, essentially, and try to figure stuff out. But I felt this just immense pressure that I couldn't be alone, So what happens? I decide I have to find someone to date and to get married. And so I set my bar really high. I had a few rules. One, they had to be okay with the fact that I had kids. It's not a shared custody situation. They're going to be 100% with me. Okay? 2, they didn't live in their mom's basement.
I like that rule.
I'm 26 years old. You think about in the Mormon culture, people that are typically 26 years old that aren't married, they're losers, living in their mom's basement and still going to school or something. I didn't want to put number 3, they couldn't be going to school. I already put someone through school, been there, done that, didn't want to do that again. You know what I mean? And I actually went back to school after I had my kids and I graduated. So I already had a degree too. Like I was like, not going to do this. Okay. 4, someone had to have a job. A job. I mean, I'm not asking for much. And 5, the most important thing was they had to be okay that I could not be sealed to them in the church. Let me explain. Once you're sealed as a woman in the church to someone else, the only way you can be unsealed to that person is if you get a divorce and go through the temple divorce. I don't know. Did you go through a temple divorce?
We did, yep.
Because I was going to say, because your ex-wife is still working for the church, I'm assuming that you went through the temple divorce.
And she remarried the whole temple wedding, all of it again. So, yeah. Well, it's like our marriage never happened. So. What about me?
High five. Well, I still wanted to recognize my marriage. I loved my late husband. I loved him. Just a great guy. And so I knew it would be very difficult to find someone in the LDS church because with me being 26 years old, I'm either going to be with someone that's never been married before. Are they going to want to be sealed to me? That's active LDS. That couldn't be sealed to me. Excuse me. They could and have 2 kids, like live a future life with me, maybe have kids together. Like, I'd be technically probably living longer with this person than I am with my late husband. So I had my 5 rules, and the big thing is like finding someone that was willing to not feel threatened that I was sealed to someone else and that I couldn't be sealed to them. Because if you're 26 years old in Utah and you've never been married before, then you're going to want to be an active LDS. You're going to want to be sealed to someone because that is the only way you can get into the highest tier of heaven, of the celestial kingdom. CK! Yeah, 3 tiers of CK.
To the celestial kingdom.
We covered the levels in a previous episode. That was fun.
So it's, or if I'm with someone that's divorced, they're not going to want to be with their batshit crazy ex-wife if they're sealed in the, in the celestial kingdom, and, banging in the eternity. Sorry, it's just, I'm being real, and having all the Mormon babies and all the planets, and you can't even stand that woman, on this earth, and you're now in eternal land,
So,
God.
Yes. In the afterlife, whatever tier you end up on, you're supposed to keep having babies when you go to heaven.
That's kind of a controversial topic.
Yeah, I've heard.
So a woman's job is never done. It's like you just got to keep going.
You just got to keep spitting him out, you know?
Like a Pez dispenser.
Yes.
I've read that you do. I thought women select are having babies in the afterlife.
In the afterlife,
no.
like, there should be, like, you should do another episode about the complexities of Mormon heaven, breaking it down.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so many, complexities of Mormon heaven.
Yeah.
But anyways, what it boiled down to, that I wanted to do anything and everything to see my late husband again. I'm a grieving widow. Like, I want to be with him. He was my everything at that point in my life, and I lost him, and it was hard. And so my best friend put a personal ad for me on Craigslist.
It's where all soulmates meet.
Yes. I know that sounds creepy. It's awesome though. And the ad said, like, liberal LDS girl looking for, it was funny. I just remember she put liberal LDS and who likes Cyndi Lauper, and it was fun. It was fun. And, wants to go out on a date, and he responded. His name's Jason. He responded, and this was in August. So March to August. Go out on a date, and he fit everything. He had 2 children, so he knew how to be a parent. He was older than me. He said he was only 5 years older than me. This becomes important later on. Foreshadowing. He said he was active LDS. I truly believed him. He owned the website josephsmith.com.
Yeah, can't lie there.
Can't lie there. If you're invested, if you're buying a web domain of the founder of the LDS Church, gotta believe. I mean, I even caught that, he had garments, the neckline, the smile. Yep. Turns out it was just a t-shirt. But I thought it was the Mormon smile. Yeah. I couldn't look before, because you don't have sex before marriage. Remember that. Right. Okay. Anyways. It's good. So he had a job, didn't live in his parents' basement, and he wasn't going to school. He was a developer for United Healthcare. And so he had a very successful career, and he was doing really well. And I remember having a conversation with him like, hey, I am sealed to my late husband. How do you feel about this? And his response was, it's okay. I'm sealed to my ex-wife still. It doesn't matter. His answer was, it doesn't matter who you're sealed to, as long as you're sealed to somebody. That's the only thing that matters in the afterlife. I thought, jackpot. Oh my God, perfect answer here. And I just won the jackpot. Mm-hmm. Come to find out. So we get engaged, and I met him in August. I was married by November.
Wow.
March to November. Same year. Yeah. And never had lived with him, never had, anything. And blending a family, too. So, mind you, I'm, young and, and I'm thinking he's this active LDS person. Well, come to find out, I learned some secrets right before we get married. For example, I go to get my marriage license, find out instead of 5 years older than me, he's 12 years older than me. I found out from his date of birth on his driver's license, getting the marriage license. The other thing, his friends come into town for our wedding, and I'm telling this story about, he answered my personal ad on Craigslist, and he said he was a liberal Democrat, and his one friend's girlfriend's like, Jason's a liberal Democrat? He's not. And he wasn't. It turns out he wasn't. He was lying about that. And that's big for me. That really is a non-negotiable for me, because he was, And he's a fan of Joseph Smith. And I thought Joseph Smith in the Mormon church Joseph Smith version. Oh, no.
Old school.
Old school Joseph Smith, like polygamy and young kids and all of that fun stuff.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And I didn't know that he didn't wear his garments until after we got married. Like, so these are like devastating things as an active, an active LDS person. These are devastating things. And I got married and I realized the night on my honeymoon with him, I made the biggest mistake of my life that night. But you can't call off a marriage. Like everyone, I had this pressure that I had to get married. I had to, because, I can't be a single mom. I can't. Like, I'm supposed to go to a singles ward, according to my LDS bishop. And it's just bullshit. And so.
What a bullshit response.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe, especially because you can't bring your children.
You can't bring your children. Yeah.
How does that make you a good mom if
Yeah.
you just ditch your kids?
There you go. So, we get married, realize it's the biggest mistake of my life, and very unhappy. And I'm still dealing with being a widow. I'm not even a year has it been since my husband died. Like, this guy I truly loved. And then I'm stuck with this other guy, and he is just a jerk, I mean, yeah. And I find out about 6 to 8 months in our marriage, I'm pregnant. Usually people are so happy. I wasn't. I was just like, oh my God, I am stuck. I'm stuck. And I love my kid, and they're amazing, and they're so funny, and I'm so glad I have them. And they know like how I felt, like, and they understand because they're father and that sort of thing. So I have a kid, and to put in perspective how crappy of a parent he was, I gave birth at 28 weeks, and he never ever went to the NICU to see our kid. Our little 1 pound, 15 ouncer. Yeah. Kind of fun. Yeah. He always was very, we lived, to best describe our marriage, we lived completely separate lives. We had a house in Daybreak. He had the top part of the house. I had the main level of the house, and then the kids were in the basement. We never shared a bedroom, ever, our entire marriage. Never shared anything. Like, everything was completely separated. And I tried so hard at the very beginning, like, let's go to church and stuff like that. And I always went to church. Because that was like my happiness, church was my happiness, because I had to go to church to be able to see my, husband again. I had to go do that. But he never went to church with me. Never. And it devastated me. So when our daughter was born, sorry, I said my daughter, they go by they, them, but sorry, I'm referring as daughter because at the time, like, I'm going back 18 years, now. So, so when they were born, I wanted to have them blessed in the church. He would not bless their kid, that's huge. Yeah. It's a huge thing, to be able to do that. Like, it's like, if you go to church and there's a baby blessing and the dad isn't blessing that baby, what is wrong?
It's a huge embarrassment.
Yeah.
Everyone's wondering what's going on.
Like, why are they not blessing their child? So I had to get permission from the bishop to have my father bless my child. Yeah. And they're like, well, what's going on with Jason? Mm-hmm. Like, why isn't he doing it? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, you need to tell me. And I'm like, well, why don't you go ask him? No. Go talk to him about it. He's the one making this decision, not me. You go talk to him. And sure enough, the bishop did not, but wanted me to tattletale on him. Yeah. I'm not going to play that game. I'm not. So anyways, so my dad blessed our child. I begged him to even just come to the blessing, just come. He wouldn't, and I'm just like, what an asshole. Like, but I'm covering up for him, just like, oh, it's okay, but you have these like devastating feelings, like, why wouldn't he want this amazing privilege of giving our child a name in the church? Like, I don't get that. Like, it just blew my mind. So anyway, we stayed miserably married. And for about a year and a half later, Proposition 8 came out. Do you know about Prop 8?
Prop 8, yeah.
Okay. California. Yeah, and gay marriage. And it was a big thing in the church because they've supported it financially. I went in for my temple recommend interview because, mind you, I liked going to the temple because that's where I felt my husband. Because that's, you go to the celestial room in the temple, and it's supposed to be peaceful, and you're supposed to have these moments. And I was always waiting to have a moment like, oh, maybe he'll appear. Yeah. Will I wait for you? Yeah. Moment in the celestial room, Never did happen, but whatever. That's another story. So I went in, get my temple recommend, and one of the questions the bishop asked was, do you support any groups that are kind of against the LDS Church? I don't remember how we worded it. Do you remember that question?
Question?
Yes. Yeah. Like it was just a brand new question that they asked. And I said, well, I support the LGBTQ community. Like I said, my father-in-law is gay. My brother-in-law killed himself because he's gay. My favorite uncle's gay. I love the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. The bishop goes, well, I'm sorry, can't issue you a temple recommend.
Really? Fucker.
Yeah.
What a fucker.
Yeah. But he did say, even more arrogant, but still continue to pay your tithing.
Of course. Of course.
Of course.
They're not going to want you to stop that.
Well, you make the commandment in the temple that you're going to pay your tithing. That's something you got to do. And
what year was this?
This was, so my daughter was born in 2007. This was probably it was, I think, 2009.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember the questions, but they made it sound like, are you part of an anti-Mormon group?
Yes. How they worded it was...
It's like, I would always say, no, I wouldn't know of any anti-Mormon groups.
But I viewed the Prop 8 as an anti-Mormon thing, so that's why I felt like I had to say Proposition 8.
Kind of trapped you. It was a little bit of a trap.
It was a trap right there. It was a trap question. It really, truly was. And let's be real, a temple recommend is subjective to whoever the bishop is. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So I sat there, and I don't think the bishop knew at that time I was a widow. You just stripped me being able to have that opportunity to be able to see or feel my late husband again. You just stripped that away from me. And how devastating is that? So hard. And I walked out of there, and I'm just like, I'm in this miserable marriage, and I'm not telling anyone how miserable I am, and the stuff that he's doing in our house to make all of our lives miserable. I'm trying to keep it together. And then you took the only hope that I had, and you took that right away from me. That recommend, it meant, for me to have that recommend, it meant that I was worthy enough to see my husband again, and you just told me I wasn't worthy. Mm-hmm. And I about lost it. So a few months after that was Mother's Day, and Proclamation to the Family came out. Do you remember from which prophet? It was
Monson, was it?
No, who was before Monson? He's everyone's favorite prophet.
Yeah. Gordon B. Hinckley?
Hinckley. Yeah, Hinckley came out with it.
Yeah.
So many prophets.
So many prophets, so
Yeah,
good
you
old
gotta keep up
time.
on
for Nevermost, just to have, I mean, even though I didn't grow up religious, when I would hear prophet, I'm thinking this like majestic, magical person that has their ear up to God.
Well,
and it's
they
like
do.
the more I know, but the Mormon is more like a politician that runs its term. You're a prophet. You're a prophet. You're a prophet. We're all prophets. Except for women. Women are prophets.
Women can't be. No, they can't be. No, and so in our ward, I don't know if they did this in like your ward. When it first came out, they read it over the pulpit.
Yeah.
And we had to sustain it.
Oh, that's right. That's been a while, but I do remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did.
Because, like, I ask people, I'm like, do you guys remember this? Because I know I'm not making this up. I know I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and you have to understand the first line in Proclamation to the Family is, a marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm just like, I'm thinking of my father-in-law who's gay, who I love, my brother-in-law who killed himself because he was gay, and my uncle, and you've taken my temple recommend from me, and now you're making me sustain this. Like, what the fuck? And I was just devastated. I was so fucking devastated. And I couldn't do it. And so then after sacrament meeting, you go to Sunday school. And I'm sitting in Sunday school. My kids go to primary. I have my baby with me because they're not in nursery yet. They're just probably like a year and a half old. I mean, they're still really young. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I'm really bothered by this. Nobody's talking about it anymore, that sort of thing. Then I go to Relief Society, and we were in the gym that day because it's Mother's Day. And what happens on Mother's Day? All the moms get a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Yay for being a mom. And it was Cold Stone Creamery cake. And the men from, the elders quorum is, trying to cut this up and serve it to us. And we're all sitting there eating cake. Because nothing says thanks for being a mom than a slice of cake in the gym. Where it smells like ass. Okay, let's be real.
Here's your ass cake.
Here's your ass cake. And I'm sitting there and I get handed this cake and I have my kid on my lap and I look at it and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. So I took that piece of cake, threw it away in the garbage, went and got my kids out of primary, and I left the church. And I haven't been back since. And it's interesting because a lot of people who leave the church, they always say, when you're Mormon, people are leaving the church because they want to sin. They want to sin. They want to sin. I didn't want to sin. I wanted to see my husband again. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted in the church was to see my husband again. And I had it stripped away from me. And I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't pretend. I couldn't do it. And so I left the church. And then when I left the church, it made Jason, who was my husband at the time, so angry. Even though he's not going to church with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's like, how dare you leave? I'm like, what difference does it make? You don't even go to church with me. Like, what difference? And so then we'd have discussions and I'm like,
there goes my porn Sundays.
pretty much.
The empty house.
3 hours every Sunday.
There goes
By
my porn
myself.
Sunday.
Watch porn.
Pretty much, No,
Sorry.
I would not be surprised,
No.
after finding out some things about him. So So, anyway, so I left the church, and he held that against me as a negative thing. Like, well, you're a sinner. You're an awful person. You left the church. And I'm like, we don't even really have a marriage here. Yeah. We live separate lives. Like, who the hell cares? And then, but he just, it was part of his abuse of what he would do towards me. And, in fact, I had conversations with him, and I'm just like, he's like, well, polygamy is the way to go. And I'm like, okay, no.
We're going to need more stories in our house to keep us all
yeah. We're going to need, we're going to need more levels, because we have. That's right. So I was just like, no. Mm-mm. I mean, if people want to live polygamy and they're consenting adults, it's totally fine. Yeah. I mean, and there's a dad that actually wants to take care of his kids, and have with multiple women. Cool. I mean, I've watched a lot of Maury Poviches where they don't want to, but it wasn't something I was ever interested in. Like, I couldn't stand being married to him. Why would I want to share it with someone? I mean, whatever. So I even told him, I'm like, you should be part of the UAB, the United Apostolic Brethren, which is the Cody Brown from Sister Wives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, group. And they're not the ones that wear the, polygamous outfits,
they dress normal and flat iron their hair.
Yeah, they're not the Warren Jeffs group. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, why don't you really look into that? Like, if you want to go to church and you believe, because he kept on telling me how much he believed, Joseph Smith original LDS church, is very different than.
Yeah, the fundamentalists are way different than the modern day Mormons now.
Yeah, than what is happening, and he's like, if I could marry, if I could marry a 14-year-old, I would.
Oh my God. Religion.
Mormonism.
He even told our kid after we were divorced and he was dying that he wanted to hook up with our child's friends that were 16 years old. Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is just to give you the insight in how he was. So anyway, so I left the church, and I didn't make a big public announcement, I'm leaving the church. I'm wearing no longer wearing my garments. I'm going to show my shoulders. Oh, I have a glass of wine. I didn't do that for a long time, on social media. I wouldn't show my shoulders. And it was because I was worried about how my late husband's family would view me, as I've left the church. When you leave the church, I'm not going to be with their son again. I'm not. So I had to shift my thinking, do I really? I don't believe in the church. I think Mormon heaven is way too complex. Way too, when you break it down piece by piece by piece by piece. Oh, I forgot one part of my story.
What's your story?
Sorry, I just forgot. So before I left, one huge thing, I went to my bishop, and this also made me leave. It was probably a few weeks right before I left. I'm sealed to my late husband. Jason is sealed to his ex-wife. We have a kid together. We're not sealed. Who is my kid sealed to?
God will figure that stuff out.
And that was his answer.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It will all get worked out.
It'll all get worked out in the end. That means I
don't know. I don't know.
Fucking idea. So.
Yeah. So I'm just oh my God. There's an answer to everything in Mormonism, but there's not an answer to this.
Of course.
Yeah. Come on. on, let's be real. So, and where I'm coming from is I'm like, okay, I'm a planner. Like, I like to look at the future. Like, okay, well, when my kid's in young women's and they start harping on eternal marriage and families can be together and temples and stuff like that, my kid's going to be there and be like, who am I sealed to? Who am I sealed to? Yeah. Oh, I'm not worthy enough because I don't have a family to be sealed to. That's what I was so scared about that for my kid to go to young women's and to have to experience that.
Yeah.
And then Mother's Day happened and that whole shit show with the cake and okay. Anyways, so I forgot. I apologize. That was huge for me. So another bishop, just all work out in the end.
It all just work out.
So does that mean that, Alex is going to be sealed to Jason and I'll never see my kid in the afterlife when I'm with my late husband? Like, I'm going through these things in my head. Like, it just, and I don't want her to be with the asshole Jason, like who isn't even active in the LDS church, but thinks he's going to be, hitting up the higher kingdom because of who he is. And, he's up there with Joseph Smith, to be honest. Like, he always said, well, when I die, I'm going to go to the city of Joseph.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Is that a place?
The city of Joseph?
Yeah,
That's just some offshoot.
It's an offshoot
fundamentalist
thing.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it is.
Planet Kolob, yes. Circle Kingdom, yes. City
of Joseph is an offshoot thing.
I'd rather go to Planet Kolob than the City of Joseph.
Hey, and they have a song about that.
They do?
Yeah, there's a hymn.
Oh, that's right.
The Heat of Kolob?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's been a while for me.
Dude, hey, I've been out longer than you, and I know this shit.
I've been drinking a lot since I left the church.
You and me both.
A lot of
Cheers.
parties.
That part of the brain has been pickled.
Cheers. Yes, very true.
Yes. So, So, anyway, so there's that. So, I knew I had to get divorced from him. But I have this minor child, and in Utah, I'm just like, in order to have 100% custody of a kid, you have to prove really bad things. Like, you're a pretty shitty parent. And even though I know he's a shitty parent and he did a lot of things to me that were very abusive to me and my kids and living in fear, and I won't go into detail about that, but I knew I'd have to share custody. So to me, I was just like, okay, I have to wait until our kid Alex can have a voice, because I can't have this little elementary kid. And also, I'm also worried about, with the comments he has made about young children, I'm worried what he would do being alone to Alex. So eventually I get to the point where Alex is in junior high, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a divorce. And I had to really find myself to, actually, no. Okay, so let's go back. Sorry. I'm trying to just remember everything. My brain is going a million miles an hour right now. Sorry. But I want to go back to where his family, leaving the church. I'm not going to see Jeremy again because, technically, his dad was the first one I told in his family. And his dad's like, hell yeah, let's celebrate. I'm so glad I knew you'd always leave. You know what I mean? But I didn't tell, I never told his other family members that I left the church. They just kind of figured it out that I left the church. So, so there's that. So never had a conversation. And I then had to learn, what do I believe in? Am I going to see him again? Am I not? What's my belief? And that was really emotional for me too, to try to figure out what my belief was. And ultimately, I live my life as, I don't anticipate I'll see him again. I don't. But if I do, that's a happy bonus. But I can still respect him as a person. because he was a very important person in my life. So like certain days, it was just recently his 20th anniversary of his death, and I had a hard day. And it's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. But I just had so much respect for him, and him passing it impacted my life so much. Okay. So anyways, let's go back to my ex-husband because he's a fun story. Mm-hmm. And, I finally get the courage to leave him. But I was so defeated. He made it possible so I didn't have any friends. He brought me down so much on myself, just doing little things to, bring me down so I would not be social. Because if I went to a restaurant and I actually talked to a male waiter, he accused me of having sex with that male waiter. Like, to that point.
That's fun.
Yeah. He was so much fun. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, I'm not doing any of this, So finally I get the nerve to leave him. And I'm working on myself, and he's from Mississippi, and Podunk, Mississippi, and I will say Jason did well for himself. Like, he owned the patent for Gmail. Like, he did really well for himself, like really well. And he was creating his own companies and investing his money and stuff like that. So, all while I was still working and paying half the bills, and he made a lot more money than I did, but whatever. His cousins come from Mississippi, and his second cousin just kind of gets really attached to him, really attached. And I'm just like, this is weird. Okay, we have separate lives, and I don't like you, but you're flaunting this other person who's a second cousin in front of my face. Okay? Like, you're going out and staying in a hotel with her on the weekends.
Jesus.
You're going to dinner. Oh, but I'm just helping her out. I'm just doing this. I'm just doing that. So Thanksgiving happens one year. And I said, I'm doing Thanksgiving dinner for all my family and everything. I don't want her here. Don't want her here. Promise me. She won't be here. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll tell her not to be here. Okay. So we get done with Thanksgiving, and as soon as we're done Thanksgiving, she shows up. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I just don't want to deal with this. Like, I don't. So I'm like, I'm done. I am done. So I pack up my stuff, and I'm like, I'm taking my kids over to my mom's house. And she lived in Riverton. We were on Daybreak. Lived in Riverton. And then I'm just like, I have a feeling I need to go back. And just really rip one into him because I'm pissed at this point. Come back home. See, he's home, and I'm like, where are you? I'm like calling for him. Look upstairs, and I'm like, his bedroom door shut. He never shuts his bedroom door. Walk in. She's naked in his closet. He's on the bed.
So this is the other tier, the ancestral kingdom?
Yes, the ancestral kingdom. Yes.
The IK. Ancestral kingdom.
Only true believers go there.
Yes, only true believers. Incest is wincest, right? Yeah. Oh, God. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I learned, and his response was, well, I thought you would want a sister wife.
You wanted a sister cousin. That is so bad.
I did this for you.
I did this for you. I did all this creepy shit for you.
I thought you wanted a sister wife. That's fucking bold.
Yeah.
Yes, and creepy.
And I'm just like, no. But I learned one thing. I'm like, game on. Boom, boom, boom. Game on. And I'm like, well, if you're going to go slut it up, I'm going to go slut it up now too. Because, you called me you kept on telling me how much I was cheating on you and all this stuff through our entire marriage, and I never did. Had a great time. Yeah. I'll just keep it at that. Had a great time. Found out a lot about myself, and just had a good time, and it helped me build up my confidence again to be able to get a divorce. So thank you for sleeping with your cousin.
Yeah.
Props to that.
Girl, yay! Cousin love! Woo.
Cousin fucker.
Yeah. Cousin fucker. I'm gonna stamp for that. Cousin fucker.
My best friend, when she served him divorce papers, goes, "Here you go, cousin fucker."
I like your friend.
Yes, she's amazing. But yeah, so.
And now I know the title of this episode.
Cousin fucker.
Cousin fucker.
CF.
We're going to refer to you though, not Kelly.
It's not cystic fibrosis. It's something else. So, I had a great time, and swore I would never ever get remarried again, because I'm just like, don't need to. And then I met my husband, and he's amazing. So happy with my husband. He's just rock star.
Yeah, we've met him. He is amazing.
Yeah.
He's great.
So friendly.
Where did you meet him?
Daybreak Wine Club.
Oh, that's right. I saw your post.
Right.
Yeah. Not 10 years ago now?
Yeah, about 10 years.
Yeah,
10 years. So I was still unhappily married. Wasn't looking. Cousin fucker hadn't happened yet, so I was still, because I was just trying to socialize again, because I had everything stripped away from me. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Daybreak Wine Club. And I was new there, and I met him there, and met, other men there, but always hit it off. And we just became friends, really good friends. And, a couple of years later, tried dating, and it didn't work out. And it was great because that it didn't work out at the time, because let me tell you, having 3 seniors in high school at the time that are girls, they would have hated each other, the 3 girls at that time.
Oh, your blended family.
Yes. Yeah, because he had 5 kids, I had 3, so we have 8 kids.
Oh.
So they range now from 30 to 18. But he got really sick. We tried dating. He got really sick, and I was going through my divorce, and he's like, look, I can't date. I need to take care of myself. But we stayed friends. And so we dated other people and made a lot of mistakes. I did. And he made some mistakes. And then we were both single at the same time. And I reached out to him a few years later after that. And I said, hey, I owe you lunch. Went to lunch, and he said, I think we could travel together well. And rest is history, And we weren't ever going to get married, but I lost my health insurance. And so he goes, well, I guess we're getting married, and had to plan a wedding in 6 weeks. And so I could get health insurance. But he's amazing. He's a great guy and just awesome. And you know what? Honestly, he probably knows your ex-wife, because he worked for the church.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and he knows everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah. That'll be.
I already gave her the name. We won't say it now, but I gave her the name.
Yeah, offline. Yeah.
So, So now I'm happy. His story is totally different than mine. Ultimately, I didn't leave the church to sin, or I wasn't angry. I was sad. I didn't have the support, and nowadays it's different because you have social media. And I see that there's a lot of young widows and that are in the LDS church, and I kind of follow them because I just want to see their stories. So different than when I was a widow. And I'm so glad that the church has support systems now out for young widows and stuff like that. They didn't have that before. So I think that's great, and progressive and good, and that people have a way to grieve. I left the church because I had it taken from me. Just because of who I was as a person. And that's sad. And that is so sad to have something taken away. Ultimately, did I make the choice to leave the church? Yes, but I felt like I had it taken away from me. And, you know, I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm so grateful for where I landed. So grateful for my husband. I'm so grateful for my kids. I'm grateful my kids still love me because I made so many mistakes with Jason. I'm grateful that he's dead now. Jason's dead.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Her ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
Second husband.
Ex-husband. So I have late husband, ex-husband, current husband. So I like people think I'm like a black widow, but I didn't kill him. He's dead. Like he died after we got divorced. He just died like a year and a half ago. And so
he's in the IK then.
Yes,
Ancestral Kingdom. Imagine all the cousins he ran into. He's like, hey,
and that woman just died, you know, so he could be up there.
He's like, you, me.
Making babies. Yeah. We're gonna have all the little, babies with the 3 tails running around.
Well, I didn't know he died.
He died. He had kidney disease, and I mean, my husband was so good, and we tried hard reaching out to him afterwards, while he was going through that process, and friending him and just being like, hey, he lived 2 blocks away from us, so it was pretty easy. And I'm just like, I don't want our child to have this guilt of, my dad's dying, I'm not gonna see my dad again. But they ended up just really hating their dad at the very end. So it's all good. Was able to get josephsmith.com, so that worked out in the end. So
that's right, you mentioned that. That is yours.
It's mine. It's mine. Got to figure out what I want to do with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, there's so much you could do.
I know.
You can make a dating site for cousins at the church.
I could. Yeah. No, we have some ideas. So, but he died. He blew through millions so he wouldn't have to pay me. We found out a lot of sketchy things he did at the end. And he died with, I think, 76 cents to his name. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so to kind of put it into perspective, we asked how he wanted to be buried. Of course, he wanted to be buried, not burned. What do? We burned him.
Seems appropriate, though.
It's appropriate.
Yeah.
I wanted his ashes. I didn't get them. I didn't want ashes. Our kid wanted some of their ashes, which you would think, this is my dad.
Sure.
Can I have some of the ashes? Oh, no, his sister took them. But really, she wanted the ashes so we could go up to a pit toilet and they could take a shit on top of them. That's how bad it got towards the end. Wow. That's their feelings toward their
closure
father.
is closure, though.
Yeah, because there's just a lot that he did to all of us. Yeah. So, yeah. And now I think we're focused on healing and just truly enjoying life, and just being happy. And that's all that matters, I think. In life, find your happiness. If people want to stay in the church and it brings them happiness, by all means, totally cool. Otherwise, go enjoy life. There's so much more than that the church can offer. That's all I have to say.
I think that's
in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Yeah,
hey,
just in case.
Amen. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a great place to end it. I mean, our stories make us who we are, and you've got a hell of a story.
It's all good. It's fun. So, and this really good. Yeah, really good.
Isn't it great?
It's great. It's a great gin drink.
Well, thanks for joining us on episode 6.
That's right.
Our Temple Tonics.
Temple Tonics, because it's appropriate. The temple.
It is appropriate.
Temple's appropriate.